In the early 2000s, two brothers from Nigeria changed African music forever. Not as rivals, but as one unstoppable force. They were known as PSquare. Together, they dominated charts, sold out concerts across continents, and built a brand that became bigger than music itself. They were more than artists. They were a movement. But behind the fame, the wealth, and the global success was a story few people truly understood. A story of brotherhood, power, control, and conflict. This is the real story of PSquare. How they rose to the top, what broke them apart, and why, even today, their story remains unfinished. Before the fame, before the spotlight, there were just two young boys with a dream. Peter Okoye and Paul Okoye were born in Jos into a modest family. From a young age, they were inseparable. Where you saw one, you saw the other. They shared everything, their thoughts, their struggles, and most importantly, their passion for music. Inspired heavily by Michael Jackson, they began dancing and performing at school events. They studied his moves, copied his style, and slowly began to develop their own identity. While attending the University of Abuja, their passion grew stronger. They formed a group and started performing more seriously. At the time, they were known as Smooth Criminals, but even then, it was obvious. They were different. Their energy, their coordination, their chemistry, it was something you couldn't teach. They weren't just performing, they were building something. Their breakthrough came when they entered and won the Grab to Mic competition. That moment changed everything. It gave them visibility, recognition, and most importantly, belief. Soon after, they released their debut album, Last Night. It wasn't just an album, it was a statement. Nigeria had seen nothing quite like them before. What followed was dominance, hit after hit, year after year. Songs like Busybody, Do Me, and No One Like You took over the airwaves. Their sound was unique. Their performances were electric. They didn't just sing, they entertained. Albums like Get Squared, Game Over, and Danger cemented their place at the top. At their peak, PSquare were not just Nigerian stars, they were African icons. They toured internationally, performed on global stages, and collaborated with artists like Rick Ross. Money was flowing, fame was growing. Everything looked perfect. But behind the scenes, things were changing. As their success increased, so did the pressure. Creative differences began to emerge. One wanted more control, the other wanted things to remain balanced. Small disagreements slowly turned into serious arguments, and at the center of it all was their older brother and manager, Jude Okoye. For years, Jude had been the backbone of their business. He managed their deals, their finances, and their direction. But as time went on, questions started to arise. Was the structure still fair? Was everyone being heard? Was one voice becoming louder than the other? These questions didn't have easy answers, and instead of being resolved privately, they began to spill into the public. The bond that once made them unstoppable was beginning to crack. Tension turned into distance. Distance turned into silence, and silence turned into conflict. In 2016, everything finally collapsed. Peter Okoye publicly expressed frustration over how things were being run. He spoke about feeling controlled, unheard, and sidelined. The situation escalated quickly. What was once a private family issue became a public spectacle. Fans watched as interviews, statements, and accusations surfaced. And then the unthinkable happened. PSquare split. After years of building an empire together, they went their separate ways. Peter became Mr. P, Paul became Rudeboy. Two brothers now competing in the same industry they once ruled together. For fans, it was heartbreaking. PSquare wasn't just a group, it was a symbol of unity. Seeing them apart felt wrong. As solo artists, both men continued making music. Mr. P focused on building his individual brand, releasing songs, and exploring new creative directions. Rudeboy, on the other hand, maintained a sound closer to what fans were used to, releasing hits that kept him in the spotlight. Both found success, but it was different. Something was missing. The magic that came from their combination couldn't be recreated alone. Years passed. No performances together, no collaborations, no public reconciliation, just distance. Then, in 2021, something changed. After years of silence, the brothers reunited. Videos of them together surfaced online. They laughed, they hugged, they looked like brothers again. For fans, it was emotional. It felt like the return of something that had been lost. Hope was restored, and for a moment, it seemed like PSquare was truly back. They performed together again, they toured, they stood on stage, side by side, just like before. But behind that reunion, the deeper issues were never fully resolved. The same questions still existed, the same tensions still lingered, and slowly signs began to show. Subtle comments, cryptic posts, interviews that hinted at unresolved issues. Once again, fans began to notice. Something wasn't right. Today, the situation remains complicated. Peter Okoye and Paul Okoye are no longer operating as a fully united group. The unity that once defined PSquare still is uncertain. And the reality is, their story is far from a perfect reunion. The rise of PSquare is one of the greatest success stories in African music history, but their breakup is one of the most painful, because it wasn't just business, it was family. Two brothers who started with nothing, built everything together, and then watched it fall apart. And even now, after everything, after the fame, the success, the reunion attempts, the question still remains: can PSquare ever truly be whole again? Or is their legacy destined to live as a story of what once was? Because sometimes the hardest battles aren't fought on stage, they're fought behind the curtains. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments section and leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe for more content, guys.